I'm so sorry, my Google Meets are still not working, so I will be presenting it right here for you. So yeah. Also, sorry I didn't have a stapler. Okay. I read about Anne Frank's life. This person is a Jewish girl at the time of the Holocaust. She is well known for her diary entry that she wrote during her hiding time from Adolf Hitler. This is Anne Frank. Her full name is actually Anneliese Marie Frank. And yeah, that's a photo. Some of Anne Frank's accomplishments are her time of the writing, and even though Anne Frank died at a very young age, she still achieved her biggest accomplishment with her dad's help of becoming a famous writing author. So sorry I couldn't have much. Two interesting facts were that Anne Frank was originally from Germany, and her real name is Anneliese Marie Frank. One thing I'm proud of is my word art, and it's the shape of a pencil because she wrote about she's biggest for her diary. And I'm gonna read you some of my big words. Anne and Frank, because that's her name. Diary in Amsterdam, because she was hiding in Amsterdam and she was writing in her diary. Her sister, how they got arrested. The camp is in big words. It's called Beasley Benjen. I don't know. Survivor, because she survived for 2 years hiding. Young, Holocaust, courageous, innocent, notorious. Otto, her dad. Jewish, Nazis, bookcase, because that's what was hiding him, so I feel like that's a pretty big part. Wars. And lastly, German. So those are some big things. Some events that were big were first, Anne was born in 1929. Next, the Franks moved to Amsterdam in 1934. The start of World War II was in 1939. Then came Pearl Harbor bombing in 1941. Nextly, it was Anne's birthday and she received her diary in 1942. Nextly, the Franks go into hiding, including Anne, in 1942, and later on, like 6 months later, were joined by the Piffer family. 7, the people who were hiding, so the Piffer family and the Franks, were discovered and got arrested in 1944. Then Anne and her sister Margaret died at Bergen-Belsen camp in 1945. But good news after that is Anne Frank get published and she became famous, and that her book got published in 1947. And lastly, the secret annex became a museum in 1960. Now I'm gonna read you some of her challenges that were hard for her. And so she lived a very young life, so she didn't have too extreme challenges, but everybody has challenges, whether it's big or small. So her biggest challenge was keeping quiet in the annex because they could not talk throughout the day or they would be discovered. Nextly, she couldn't walk around all day throughout the annex. In the morning before the workers come, she would have to find a place that she had to stay all day. Nextly, she couldn't use a bathroom, shower, or toilet because the water pipes are through the warehouse, so they would be found. Nextly, she had to share a room with Fritz Piffer. Mr. Piffer was a 55-year-old man who was a dentist before all of this happened, so he's a hardworking man, and he likes to do his job, so he always wanted the desk, so they always had to fight. And lastly, she wasn't a regular teenager, and for the most part. Anne Frank spent most of her teenage years in the secret annex, hiding from the world practically, and so she couldn't have a real teenage experience except when it came to Peter Piffer. They had a complex relationship. I mean, they were sort of dating, but Anne knew that they would never be more than friends. Oh, I did not realize this glue was not dry. Nextly, I'll read to you about important people in Anne Frank's life. Okay, first, here in the top corner, that is Milk Gills. She was always bringing food for Anne and her family, and always appreciated it. And even when the food was just beans and greens, and Anne hated greens, she always knew to thank her because she knows that she was trying her best. And Milk Gills survived a little longer than Anne Frank and her sister and her mom. Next, in this corner, right there, that is her mother, Edith Frank. Anne and her mother had a tentative relationship. They both had some misunderstandings between them, and they were not able to confide in each other. Edith loved Anne very much, and Anne also loved her mom very much, but mood swings and misunderstandings made matters worse. Next, right here, we got Peter. Peter and Anne fell in love. They cuddled and kissed in Peter's room in the attic, but after a while, Anne realized that Peter would never become more than a friend she had hoped for. She backed off for a while, but Peter did not. So that indicates that Peter still wanted to be Anne's love, but Anne realized that she needs to worry about herself right now and not have a boyfriend. Next, we have her father, Otto. Anne and Otto's relationship stays strong as her father defends her from Anne's constant harassment and from her mother and her sisters. This indicates that her mother and sister always got along, but Anne never got along with her sister or mother, and so really her dad was being the supportive person. After the Holocaust happened, Otto survived the camps, and Otto spent the rest of his life dedicated to his sharings of his daughter's story that she wrote in her diary, then he later published. And lastly, we have her sister, Margaret. Margaret is almost the opposite of Anne. She's quiet and well-mannered. She has wonderful relationships with her mother, and they are very close. She tends to gravitate towards her family and get lonely if left alone for too long. Next, I will read you my diary entry. Dear diary, tonight is the night my family and I go into hiding. Today is July 6, 1942. I'm really scared because what if the Nazis or Hitler or even just one of the soldiers finds us? I don't want to think about that actually. We have food and a person who will give us food from the outside, so that's a pro of the moment. I hope Jack Hugh and Nate, both of their families are safe. On a side note, this is my first day, so anything can happen. Oh boy, if I just discovered, it's my biggest fear. Nothing could be worse than that. box, I'll read you some quotes of Anne Frank. I just chose 2 of them, and they're my favorite, and I'm going to explain that why. So one of the quotes is, I keep my ideals because in spite of everything, I still believe that people are good at heart. I like this quote because I believe that with like everything going on in the world, everybody can be a good person, and there still is good people out there, and everybody makes mistakes, and yeah. And then the second one is, whoever is happy will make others happy too. I like this quote because it shows that you should treat others nicely to make their day so they're happy, and then they'll treat other people nicely, and then hopefully it becomes an ongoing cycle, and then everybody's just nice to each other. And then lastly, it's my I Am poem. I am the owner of a famous diary that I got on my 13th birthday and a Jewish girl of the time of the Holocaust. I wonder if I will ever get out of this house. I want to publish my book about my time hidden in the attic of this warehouse and become a writer. I am the owner of a famous diary that I got on my 13th birthday and a Jewish girl in the time of the Holocaust. I pretend to be a girl named Kitty in my diary. I worry being captured by the Nazis would be a torturous stay in the concentration camp. I cry because I can't see my best friends Jacqueline and Van Marsen and go to school. I am the owner of a famous diary that I got on my 13th birthday and a Jewish girl in the time of the Holocaust. I say I believe that there are still people with a good heart in the world despite all the confusion, misery, and death happening. I dream to be a famous journalist and or a published writer. I dream to be I hope the war ends and we can have peace in the world. I am the owner of a famous diary that I got on my 13th birthday, and I am a Jewish girl in the time of the Holocaust. And lastly, my theme. And that is my presentation. Thank you for listening, and have a good day.